Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Wow, so Dillian Whyte did not hold back when he went in on Deontay Wilder, and he even called Deontay Wilder's fan base a bunch of bum boys who just want to hang on to Wilder's sack. Now, I've done this how many times? Hundreds of times with Deontay Wilder, and Dillian Whyte, he breaks it down very, very well. You know, he called him a hillbilly and all that kind of thing because he's just not quite right. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to take big money opportunities. He doesn't want to have some kind of legacy fights for Undisputed against Joshua. He turns down Dillian Whyte, and of course he tries to freeze out Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte even says that maybe Deontay Wilder has spoken to the WBC about freezing him out, all that kind of stuff. Now, I'll put a link to this in the description box for you guys, for those of you who haven't seen it, which hopefully you have. But either way, Dillian Whyte is absolutely correct on pretty much every point that he's made. In fact, not pretty much, I mean every point that he made in this one, because ultimately, Deontay Wilder, he turned down $100 million to fight 2 fights with Anthony Joshua for Undisputed. First of all, when you put in the word Undisputed in there, it should be a no-brainer, especially when Wilder's been running around saying it's not about the money, it's about legacy, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly he switches and it is about money and blah, blah, blah. And he just a walking contradiction. And of course, every time Wilder contradicts himself, his fanboys, as Dillian Whyte calls them, his bum boys, they defend whatever it is that Deontay Wilder does. So they change their narrative to suit Wilder. It's what they do. When they say, we don't care about the money, yet they back up the fact that Deontay Wilder turns down $100 million. Again, some of these guys will say it's not $100 million. Well, it is $100 million because Shelley Finkel confirmed it was $100 million. And also, they did not even try to negotiate. They may have got a little bit more. Maybe. But ultimately, when you put Undisputed on the line, should it really be about money? To a point, of course. Listen, you've got to get paid well. And Wilder is correct when he says that you've got to pay us because it's dangerous. Absolutely correct. But the thing is that where else is Deontay Wilder going to get $100 million for 2 fights? He ain't going to do that. He ain't going to do that against Tyson Fury. He ain't doing it. And his pay-per-view numbers for Luis Ortiz were shockingly low, 138,000. Now, his guarantee against Luis Ortiz was $3 million. Then he'll get an upside depending on the amount of pay-per-views. Again, Wilder fans are trying to defend it. Now, what they're doing is they're making Wilder look weak. They keep on giving him excuse after excuse. Rather than fix the problem, they add to the problem by defending it. There's no defending it. You should be encouraging your people, your subscribers, to be buying the pay-per-view, to turning up to the events. Because we know that the Wilder fan channels, for the most part, don't turn up to the Wilder events or pretty much any events whatsoever. I mean, some of them, they probably can't leave their house due to the fact that they've got an overload of sandwiches in the fridge. Okay, but they want to sit behind their computer and take all your super chats. But ultimately, when you look at it, 100 million for 2 fights plus Undisputed, he would have got a decent payday. Okay, he would have got 3-4 million, maybe 5 million, I don't know, for Luis Ortiz. But he ain't going to make, in his next fight against Tyson Fury, 90-something million. He ain't going to do that. So ultimately, from a business decision, it was a poor decision. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's quite happy with his money. I'm not saying he shouldn't be. He's a millionaire. He's done very well. But the thing is that he could be a multi-millionaire. With 2 fights against Joshua, he never had to work again. He could just hang up those gloves, win, lose or draw, and never think about boxing again. Because we know Wilder, he doesn't like boxing. He doesn't like the training. He says it time and time again. I've had enough of this. I can't wait till the day that I retire. And him fighting Tyson Fury, nobody is disputing the fight with Tyson Fury, okay? But what people do have a bit of a problem with this one is, first of all, the fight should have happened straight away. Yes, that part was Tyson Fury's fault. We can't get around that. But the fact is that they signed up for another rematch after. So 2020 is all booked up for Wilder with back-to-back fights with Tyson Fury. Dillian Whyte's been number 1 for a long, long time. And I know people keep talking about, yeah, but Dillian Whyte failed a PED test. Well, if he did, wouldn't he be banned? I mean, listen, we don't go too much into it, but wouldn't he be banned? Did he or did he not pass all VADA? Did he pass the exact same test as Deontay Wilder? If the answer is yes, then why are you even talking about it? Especially if you're a Wilder fan. So ultimately, Dillian Whyte, he's been number one for a long, long time. But yet again, he's been pushed to the side. He's been pushed back by another year. By the time he actually gets a world title shot, even if it is going to be in February or March 2021, how long has he been number one? Who's to say between now and this title shot? Because we know what Dillian Whyte's like. He will take some risky fights between now and then. And I hope he doesn't, Dillian. And if you're listening, first of all, give me a call. But second of all, you should not be taking any risky fights. You've done your risky fights now. You've done them. Don't be taking any more. Do what Dominic Breazeale done to get his world title shot. Do what Luis Ortiz done to get his world title shot. Do what Wilder done to get his world title shot. Do what Tyson Fury done, as in fighting those two bin men after his comeback. Tyson Fury has a bit more credibility about him due to the lineal status and the fact he did defeat Vladimir Klitschko. But Luis Ortiz didn't do anything. Nor did Eric Molina. Nor did Johan Duapa. Nor did Arthur Spilka. Nor did Malik... Well, Malik Scott was before that, so apologies for that one. But nor did a couple of them. Gerald Washington. Did any of these guys do anything? Did they do anything compared to what Dillian Whyte's done? But yet Dillian Whyte is being frozen out, and you guys are supposed to be boxing fans, and you accept this. If Dillian Whyte's so easy, why are you not encouraging him to take this fight? Why you keep giving him a pass? Why are you giving him a pass to turn up $100 million, saying how, well, my future is in my own hands? Yeah, your future's in your own hands, and yes, you are going to get paid very well, but you ain't getting paid $100 million for 2 fights. Luis Ortiz's fight has already been and gone. So that's one fight. And his next fight was Tyson Fury. I mean, if you're so confident in beating Anthony Joshua, then why didn't you just sign for $100 million or try to negotiate, get a bit more? Fight Anthony Joshua, 2 fights, get your $100 million, become undisputed, and then go fight Tyson Fury. It doesn't make too much sense, because that payday of $100 million for 2 fights, it's unlikely it will ever be there again. If Anthony Joshua defeats Andy Ruiz Jr. this weekend in Saudi Arabia, which touch wood, hopefully he does, and even if Wilder and Joshua sit down at the table and get a deal thrashed out, Wilder ain't going to get $100 million for 2 fights with Joshua now, because Joshua's got a loss on his record. That's just the unfortunate truth of it. Joshua's going to have to build back up, starting with the win with Andy Ruiz Jr. He's going to have to build up a bit more, because a lot of people have lost faith in Anthony Joshua, which I find very, very disturbing. One loss shouldn't define you. Everyone's entitled to an off night at the office. Technically, Wilder should have a loss on his record. He lost to Fury. Technically, you could say that Tyson Fury should have a loss on his record from a few years back. But yeah, okay, he did rematch and win convincingly, but ultimately all fighters do take a loss. It happens. You shouldn't be turning your back on Joshua. You shouldn't be turning your back on any of your fighters for taking a loss. But Wilder is afraid to take a loss. That's why he's not taking a risk. Him fighting Luis Ortiz, a guy who's never achieved anything as an amateur or a pro. He just hasn't. So what makes him the boogeyman? He isn't the boogeyman. Tyson Fury, he brings credibility to Deontay Wilder. He does now, because of his book, because of his single with Robbie Williams for Christmas, because of his WWE experience, and the fact that he should have on his record a win over Wilder. But he's got a draw over Wilder, or with Wilder. So Tyson Fury is bringing the name, he's bringing the money, he's bringing... I mean, in theory, if you used to look at it logically, Tyson Fury, he should be like a 75-80% purse on this one, should he not? Because he's the one bringing it. The numbers don't stack up for Wilder. They just don't. And his fanboys can't defend it. Sorry, you just can't defend it. You really can't. Deontay Wilder's not a draw. He just isn't. And he is, quite clearly, as Dillian Whyte called him there, a hillbilly. He is a hillbilly. Because he allows his team to control him. I don't know anybody else who would do that. Any other fighter on the planet, you offer them $100 million for 2 fights, they're taking it. Except maybe Floyd Mayweather, he won that for 1 fight. But Wilder ain't nowhere near the level of a Floyd Mayweather. Nowhere near it. He ain't nowhere near an Anthony Joshua or a Canelo or a Dillian Whyte or a Tyson Fury. Even Alexander Usyk is moving ahead of him as far as numbers and that go. I don't know why people don't support Wilder in his own country. I don't know why that doesn't happen, but listen, it is what it is. Anyway, Dillian Whyte's interview in the description box for you. Go give it a watch. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.